If you've ever had this feeling that something was terribly wrong with the world that we live in, but you couldn't figure out just what it was, then you've come to the right place. Secret societies, mystery religions, and the Illuminati have been controlling our reality since the beginning of time. But not anymore, because there is an awakening happening, and you are about to become a part of it. Wake up, because this is a call for an uprising.
This is a call for an uprising. Welcome to today's show. I want to thank the YouTuber Healing Spirit for passing this along to me. Again, I always say thanks when people pass along information and I give them credit for it, but I don't even know if I should be saying thank you, because these are the types of things that just get my blood pressure through the roof and my blood boiling. All of it does. Just seeing all of this stuff come out of darkness into light, yet nobody else can see it. They are conditioning people with all of this stuff. This is becoming the norm now. I've talked about the Illuminati ball, the Rothschild ball, even how they had the mockery, the fake Illuminati ball, which was a play, but really, it wasn't a play, excuse me. It was more of like a show, like a murder mystery night, where everybody dressed up as elitists, wearing their Illuminati masks and outfits. I mean, just real freaky, creepy stuff. Now, get a load of this, reported by the New York Post. A night of erotic freedom at New York City's most exclusive sex party. Now, I could barely even show you photos. This is funny, too, because we're on the New York Post. Literally, there are females butt naked. I mean, it's just nothing. There's no boundaries anymore. There's nothing. I mean, people are going to be having news articles with nudity in it soon. And you could see, of course, the outfits, but we're supposed to believe that this is just some cute little group where it's $75,000 annually to participate in a night of sex and non-monogamy. And then you see the all-seeing eye. You can see it right on their hats and their masks. It's the same exact crap we always see. I'll read you the article and you can hear for yourself the nonsense that goes on there, but I'll say this. Don't think for 1 second if elitists are paying this kind of money to go to this club once a month, $75,000, okay, for the year for an annual membership fee. Think about how much money they're spending for 1 month to go and have sex with random people. Now, I don't even know how this is really legal, but apparently it is. But don't think for 1 second that children aren't somehow involved in some of this stuff. Okay, don't think for 1 second this is about grown men and grown women. Don't think that they don't have back rooms where this stuff goes on, because these people are satanic scum. That's what they are. Just prowling wolf-like around the sex party at a downtown hotel. Hopeful guest Josh, who doesn't want his last name mentioned. Yeah, I probably wouldn't either. It's pretty embarrassing. Goes from black lingerie-clad girl to black lingerie-clad girl asking for French kisses. The 26-year-old Russian gets lucky a few times, but as a constellation prize, for those who rejected his advances, he hands them his business card, which boosts his job title of Chief Technology Officer and a swank address on Park Avenue. So don't you see these things that I talk about? These sex parties, these orgies, it's common in all the things we talk about. What? The satanic, occult circles. This is what they do, what they perform. They network with each other. It is a gigantic network of occultists and Satanists who run our government, who run big businesses, who are in charge of big businesses. They confuse everybody into thinking, oh, well, this guy went to Harvard or he went there. Meanwhile, none of that stuff matters. They go to those schools to be indoctrinated in their secret societies like Skull and Bones. They're put in these positions. They're not smarter than you. They're not smarter than me. They're not better than you. They're not better than me. This is about satanic bloodlines, incest, and, networking through these sex parties that they have. Why would a guy need to hand out his business card if he lives on Park Avenue in New York City and network? It's not about him going, well, maybe I can get a job out of it. He lives in Park Avenue. Think he's getting paid pretty well. He's networking with other occultists. It says last Saturday, 100 of New York's rich and beautiful gathered in the presidential suite of a luxury 5-star hotel for orgies and live sex shows. It was the first of several Manhattan parties held by SNCTM, an elite erotic club based in Los Angeles that counts Gwyneth Paltrow and Bill Maher as amongst its fans. Well, that's interesting because I talked about Bill before, Bill Maher. I've exposed him on this channel, talking about his connection to pedophilia and how he talks about it being okay for a 40-year-old woman to have sex with a 12-year-old boy. And he wasn't kidding. right? The double standard that this society has where they say, well, it's a hot fantasy for a young boy to have sex with. It doesn't. It's still child molestation. It still affects the boy's life. Talk to young boys who have been molested and see how damaged they are psychologically and emotionally. Yeah, it's one thing to fantasize about it as a young boy. You know, so that's what Bill Maher's doing. He's playing to people going, oh, you know, young teenagers, their hormones are up. An older teacher or an older woman molests them. We're supposed to applaud it and think it's good. That kid is psychologically screwed up. He's a part of abuse. That's what it is, man or woman. So Bill Maher was promoting that. So what a surprise that he's going to these events and a fan of that. And Gwyneth Paltrow, just more Satanist scum. Says the Post had exclusive access to the party, but agreed not to name the location. Wow, does that sound familiar as well? Because they don't name the locations where these things occur. If you've seen Eyes Wide Shut, it reveals all of these types of things, where you mysteriously will get an invitation to meet at a secret location, have passwords to get in. How do you think they get away with all this pedophilia and all this stuff? Now, this is talking about adults consensually having sex. But that's a cover, because this stuff occurs there. Where do you think these millions of kids who get abducted, where do you think they go? That these adults who are billionaires, that they're just interested in having a non-monogamous relationship with other people walking around in masks? They're all wearing masks and stuff to hide their identity. So you don't think that there's children involved? You got to be nuts. If you know the satanic circles, you know how they operate. There are. And obviously the New York Post, which is controlled fake news, isn't going to talk about it. But they're putting this out there because they're trying to make it look cool. Oh, cool, a sex party, an elitist night of eroticism in New York, $75,000. If you pay $75,000 a year to be a part of it, you have to be a millionaire, okay? Or even further than that, because that would be 1/10 of your income going to something you attend monthly. These people are multi-millionaires. It says, although there's a sex aplenty, Gothamites are found to be a bit less freewheeling and more interested in professional connections than their laid-back California counterparts. It's so new, and a lot of first-timers are voyeurs. Okay, so they're networking with professional connections, but they're paying $75,000 to get in. That's not what they're networking for. They're not going around going, hey, can you help me get a job at Goldman Sachs? Because, the $75,000 I paid to get in for this one night, once a month, and then the other million I'm making is not enough. I need more. You know what they're networking about. These are how satanic secret societies network. They network children through these things, all of it. They all connect with each other. It's not a coincidence, and it's not a coincidence it's coming out into the light. Men pay $1,500 to $1,875. The discount rate applies when you bring a female partner to attend each party or buy an annual VIP membership for $75,000, which includes admission to all parties, access to private rooms. Wonder what they mean. What's going on in the private room? I wonder. Unlimited crystal champagne and a sterling silver pendant of a lion that shows they're atop of the food chain kind of a guy. So, just more unbelievable. This is unreal. This is in the New York Post. If this stuff came out 50 years ago, people would be freaking out. This came out 100 years ago in the Walnut Grove newspaper, or whatever they used to do, in the Little House on the Prairie days. You think they'd be okay with this? Boy, there just is nothing. I mean, this is do what thou wilt. There's no morals. There's no code anymore. Nobody's following God's law, that's for sure. This is just really disturbing. It says we had close to 1,000 applications for this event, and we're letting in about 100. So 1,000 people had to turn in applications to go. Oh, man. Fashion student Katie, a Mormon raised in Utah. Of course, they have to slip that in. Now, people who listen to the channel are aware that Mormons, okay, the founder of Mormonism, okay, was a 33rd degree Freemason. Mormonism is not, linked to Christianity, but in the media, it is, because people think Mormon means crazy Christian. If you're a Christian and you're all linked together in this basket, when salvation's only through Jesus Christ, it's not from being a member of a Mormon cult. But they put that in there deliberately because somebody reads it and they go, oh, they even have Christians going. Christian from Utah, young fashion student, 22 years old, came with a 31-year-old Tinder date. But after he fails to rise to the occasion in a foursome, she goes looking for hotter prospects. This is the New York Post, and they call us fake news. They call this channel fake news. This is what they're pumping in the New York Post and the New York Times and the mainstream media, because they're indoctrinating people with this filth as an acceptable lifestyle. Meanwhile, I'm trying to talk about these kids who are getting raped, molested, and trafficked through these satanic covens, these women who are breeding these children for sacrifice, and I'm fake news. Yet this is something that somebody's going to buy the newspaper for to get the news, and they don't realize that they're being indoctrinated with this filth. It says, Lawner describes the New York men who made the cut as masters of the universe. Well, that's another Masonic title, right? I mean, is He-Man there? Masters of the universe. This is what these Satanists, Luciferians believe, that they are gods amongst us, masters of the universe. This is what they're told in the Masonic lodges. This is how they honestly feel. We're goy to them. We're nothing, cattle. So these people are masters of the universe. Certainly Wall Street is well represented, as is the tech industry. There are no recognizable celebrities, but there are around 25 relatively attractive 20 to 60-something males sharply dressed in tuxedos. The 75 women, meanwhile, range in age from early 20s to mid-40s, slightly more filled out than their LA peers. We're talking an average size 4 in New York compared to a half-starved size 0 on the West Coast. I mean, who cares? This is the New York Post. I mean, oh man, with all the pressure that we're all under and trying to continue to expose this stuff with them censoring us and just cutting ad revenue and all that so we can try to do this full time. This is what, somebody at the New York Post is being paid probably a significant amount of money, more than the few dollars we get for a video, to go to this sex party and report on. Probably getting a couple $1,000s just to do the story. And people still don't go open this up, see this stuff, and go, why are they showing me this? What is the point of this? What is the agenda behind it? And why are these news outlets who are supposed to report world news mixing stuff like this in? I'll tell you why. Because it's all part of this gigantic indoctrination into Satanism, into worshiping Lucifer. That's what this is. And they go on to talk about people's dress sizes. I mean, no, pointless stuff. But it says the one person lets it loose by 3 a.m. She's had sex with 6 people, including a threesome, with a 50-something sugar daddy who possesses an inevitable six-pack, and it says, and his beautiful Latina baby. I don't even know what that means. I was expecting older, fatter men, to be honest. I'm pleasantly surprised. I mean, this is disturbing stuff. 3 a.m. is the witching hour. They call it that for a reason. That's usually where they perform their satanic rituals, at 3 o'clock in the morning. This is some weird, this is just going on in New York. No big deal at a hotel. Unbelievable. They already run everything, but they're taking over even the masses out there. Because when people read stuff like this, they think it's cool and it's great. And it sounds like fun. Ooh, how can I attend? That's why this is in the New York Post. So that people who work go, oh, if I could make more money, I could be a part of that. Have sex with all these women. They're pushing this lifestyle, this perversion down everyone's throat. And meanwhile, nobody is aware that this is part of, this is satanic. This is part of, what these satanic circles do. And I'm sure they perform black magic rituals there and all sorts of stuff. The VIP private room. Oh yeah, I'm sure it sounds so classy. These perverted millionaires, multimillionaires wouldn't be interested in kids that are missing. And makes me sick. Absolutely sick. So this is in the New York Post. More, getting people to feel this way, to want to be involved in stuff like this, to thinking it's cool. That's why they put this stuff in the mainstream. And if you're not, you're a prude or you're weird or, you get labeled as something for not going along with this or, a stick in the mud. Right? Those are the titles they get people when they go, this is wrong. You're promoting it. Any kid could pick up the New York Post. A 5-year-old could pick it up. A 10-year-old, 5, all right, let's just say a 10-year-old, he's going to school, 12-year-old, he wants to read the sports about the Yankees or the Mets or something in New York, and he sees this stuff. There's no limitations on what these scumbags are going to show, or he goes on the internet and sees. Man, it is everywhere. This is more just Satanism in the mainstream. That's what it is. Sex parties being accepted, promoting, non-monogamy, promoting orgies like they're cool, like a woman having sex with 4 people at 3 in the morning. And yet, this is the news, folks, that keeps going. And that's why I'm putting an end to all this stuff. YouTube is trying to run all of us offline. That's what they're trying to do here. They're bringing in the networks onto YouTube, NBC, CBS, ABC. They're coming onto YouTube. Those advertisers never went anywhere, Pepsi, Coke, and all them. They're taking all of their ads and placing them on those channels and making sure that the ad rev doesn't come to anyone exposing truth. So as far as I'm concerned, I've had all I can take as everyone else has of YouTube and what they're doing. But I'll tell you what, I'm not going to back down because I got a plan B in place. And it's going to be good. And it's going to give people a chance to actually continue to grow in exposing this stuff. And it's going to get away from the poison of YouTube, the fake truthers of YouTube, all of that stuff. And we're going to continue to expose this stuff. We're going to push it out back into the mainstream and make them, scare them back instead of going, oh, we're going to cower down to you and let you get away with the pedophilia and all this crap. No, I'm not backing down from anyone. So I'll be letting you guys know in a few weeks what this plan is, but I guarantee you'll be excited for it and you'll love it and you'll be on board if you're a supporter of the channel. If you're not, goodbye. You don't have to come. You don't have to be a part of it, but it's going to be unbelievable. I promise you that. In the meantime, I have my Patreon link below. If you want to be a patron for the channel, it's greatly appreciated. I mean, what they're doing is pretty ridiculous. A few dollars does go a long way. It's not a big deal if you can't. Anything is appreciated, any help along the way until this is figured out. But I'm doing my best to figure this out, and I believe I'm on the right path to figuring it out and doing something revolutionary to take down, to make sure that the censorship doesn't happen, to make sure that that people can actually continue to make income off of this content, maybe not have to rely on these advertisers and things like that. So, and we can do this full time as actual journalists, actually, and I don't consider myself a journalist, but people were actually exposing this stuff. You can title us whatever you want. YouTuber, journalist, somebody who's got intelligence, somebody who knows this stuff, someone who has common sense, whatever. But this stuff needs to continue to get exposed. And we need, as a content creator, I need you guys to continue to stay on board. Doesn't mean you have to donate or become a patron, but stay on board. Don't let them bully you out of this movement into thinking that we're fake news and stuff like that. Because this only gives credibility, what's going on. It only gives credibility to people such as myself, that they're scared, but they're going to keep running scared because bigger things are coming, bigger than this crap, and bigger than YouTube, at least for myself. That's all I can say. I thank everybody for listening to today's show. God bless all of you and your families. Love you guys. God bless you.